Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Bryan.
Do you know what we're talking about today?
I do.
What is it?
System one and system two thinking.
System one and system two thinking at home and at work.
Oh, I forgot that part.
Well, you didn't tell you that part.
Thanks
Yes,
for the heads up, by the way.
you're welcome.
Okay, good.
I'm Bryan Martin,
I'm Jennifer Martin.
and this is a broadcast of real estate love, strengthening your home and building your business.
You're so funny.
I know. So, business and home really aren't that much different.
Well, no, we only have one life. And
We only have one life.
Mhm.
It's surprising to me how many people try to make 2 or 3 lives out of their one life.
Well, maybe they're trying to get the most that they can.
I know. They got the one over here and the one over there and the one up here and the one over there, and they fail to realize they only have one life.
One life.
One life.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is really cool is how it's all about relationships.
Life is all about relationships.
Yeah. And it's just amazing how we have the opportunity to relate, to interact with people on all kinds of different levels.
It's fun.
What was one of your most interesting interaction you had with somebody recently?
I think the listing appointment I went out on yesterday,
Oh.
it is a family of the mother, the daughter, and the granddaughter. And they're all adult women. So the granddaughter is an adult. And there's disabilities that they have to deal with. And there's life issues. And the interaction was just really fun because I was able to give them some education, understanding, and options. And I like to do that.
I wonder what they were expecting when they heard that the broker was coming to meet with them.
Well, I think they had a really negative experience with another agent who, instead of seeing the nice things of their home, talked about the problems of their home. And when she left, they felt really discouraged. And so I think they were a little bit apprehensive, worried that somebody else would come in and say negative things about their home.
Did you know this as you were going into it?
Well, I knew that the grandmother had shared the one comment that had bothered her. And so when I pulled up, I was kind of expecting something different than I saw. And the house is darling. It's well cared for. It has great curb appeal. It would be a place that you would go, oh, I want to go visit these people.
You said something that struck me, and it was she shared with you the one comment that was made.
It was only one comment that really triggered her feeling of like the person didn't like her house.
What was the comment?
She had bars on her back windows.
She had bars in her back windows.
Mm-hmm. But they're 3 women living alone, and they live off a major street. And so for her, their backyard, even though the fence is high, could be someplace that someone could jump the fence and come into their backyard and not be noticed and break into their house. So they put security bars on their back windows, and they're very attractive, and they're well cared for and maintained and nice. So to me, it wasn't a oh my God issue.
This is a bad neighborhood.
Right. No, it was just these are 3 women who live here, and they feel safer with the bars on the back windows.
That's really interesting. So that's a good example of system 1 and system 2 thinking. Can I share with you how?
Yes.
Because the first agent jumped to a conclusion.
I think she did.
She had, her first thought was, oh my God, there's bars in the window. This is not good for the sale of the house.
Right.
And that was her first reaction to it. So system 1 thinking is our first and almost instantaneous response to a situation. System 1 thinking is almost before you can get the word out of your mouth, you've already formed the thought, and it's there. It's like when I say to you, Jennifer, what's 1 + 1? And even before you can say 2, it's already there.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people only operate most of the time out of a system 1 perspective. They just immediately respond without taking into consideration other items.
You know, Brian, I find that I fall into that sometimes. And I also know that for the most part, I'm a process thinker. And so oftentimes people will say something to me and it takes me a while to form an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because I'm holding back on the first thought
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to think through into the system 2.
And I think that is a beautiful way to live life. And that's holding back the first thought and taking a moment of time to be able to evaluate the situation, like what you did. So, so the bars in the window, oh, well, those help those women feel safe. And the feeling of safety is really great. And this house is a beautiful house. And this is a place where people live and they feel safe here.
Well, and you can tell it's a well cared for home. And it's a home that they truly love.
So the other agent couldn't think past the bars and see that it was really a well cared for home. And it's a desirable place to be.
Right. And I think sometimes giving people the understanding of why that system 1 thought was there is also helpful. And I don't know, because I wasn't there, I don't know if some of the thought process was given and shared. And so I think that was part of what I found fun yesterday, was I got to help these 3 women think about things differently and to share with them why something might be a certain way or why a buyer might look at something a certain way. And they really felt empowered, I believe, in having a better understanding of how to look at selling their home.
Well, can I give you the classic example of system 2 thinking?
I'd love that.
All right, here it's a word problem. So a bat and a ball cost $1.10.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. And the bat cost $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?
So I'd have to sit and think, because this is a system 2 thinking.
It is system 2 thinking. Most people say it's a
dime.
It's a dime.
Right. And I know that that's not
no,
right.
No, that's not, because if it's $1 more, the bat's $1 more, so that means that the bat is $1.10, and the ball is 10 cents, right? The ball is 10 cents, but the bat is $1 more. So it's 10 cents plus $1. That's $1.10, and $1.10 and $1 and a dime is 120.
Yes.
But it's only 110 is the right answer. So the correct answer is the ball is 5 cents. So 5 cents for the ball, and then $1 more for the bat.
Oh yeah.
So $1.05 plus 5 is $1.10.
I get it.
Right. And that's a difficult thing for a lot of people to grasp hold of. They really have to think about it.
Well, I do.
Well, and what's beautiful in the story that you shared, that what you're doing, you're empowering the sellers to think like a buyer and not to be so system 1 approach. This is my house. This is the things we've done to it. Here's all of the neat virtues of it. Isn't it a great house? It's worth $1 million.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And because that's what their instinctive system 1 approach is. But when a seller can sit back and is guided by a skillful agent and says, well, let's take a look at this from a different perspective. What does a buyer look like when he's coming in? Then that helps the seller to engage in system 2 thinking. And it's more effort. It takes more time. And it doesn't have the same instantaneous gratification that comes with system 1 thinking. But you have a wonderful gift in being able to help people think through the process from a different perspective and a system 2 perspective.
that was a fun experience.
Yeah, it was
really
a fun
was.
experience.
And such darling women.
Hmm.
You know, it's fun to work with nice people too.
Did you get the listing?
Not yet.
Ah.
It'll happen.
So at home, sometimes we engage in system. Well, everybody engages in system one thinking at one time or another. I was thinking about this morning, and when you meet a stranger, you have a system one response to a stranger.
Well, I think you do, because you immediately form an opinion
Uh-huh.
without even knowing them.
And what are some of the things that you look for when you meet a stranger for the first time?
Well, I look to see if they smile at me.
Uh-huh. If they don't smile at you, then what does that mean?
They may not like me.
That's interesting, because it probably doesn't have anything to do with them not liking you. It's that they don't know you and they don't feel safe yet with you.
I know, but as people, I think oftentimes the first thought goes to ourselves, not to the other. I guess that's
the system one, right?
Uh-huh.
Our first thought is, okay, am I going to be safe with this person?
That's right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the other person's thinking too.
So neither of us smile.
So neither of you smile.
Yeah.
And then you get a problem. So there's, they teach salespeople the classic rapport building technique of Ford. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The F stands for
family.
You ask the other
about
themselves, and you ask about their family. And the O stands for their occupation. What kind of work do you? What kind of work? I remember now. This is all about them. And people like to talk about themselves, and they find themselves talking to you, and you're an easy person to talk with because you're listening and you're nodding,
and you're smiling,
and you're attentive and you're there. So the whole time while they're talking with you, they're getting a feeling from you, and they're understanding you as being more than a stranger. You are somebody that is likable. Well, and you can trust them because they're giving you all this information. They're feeling safer with you by you letting them talk to you.
Absolutely.
And by the way, the R.
It stands for
recreation. What do you like to do?
I like to ride my bike.
Yeah.
I like to watch my grandkids.
And D.
D is
your dreams. Yeah. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to a trip.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm. But I've used that in the past, and because in social settings, in large social gatherings, I'm not real comfortable. I don't feel like I do small talk well, and yet when I remember to use Ford, what I find is people walk away. And I'll even hear them saying, "Oh my gosh, that was the nicest lady. We had the best conversation." And all I did was ask those 4 questions.
Right, and they talk the whole time.
Exactly. And so it's like it also makes a comfortable situation for me, because it gives me something to know this is how I can socialize when I feel awkward.
Now, when you look at that situation and you just ask a few questions to somebody else and they walk away and they say, "Oh, that was such a great conversation." Well, it was more than a great conversation. They found you to be a caring, kind individual who was interested in them. And they were making judgments about your character based on their interaction with you, other than the conversation that they had. And all that complicated activity was going on behind the scenes. And man, they would love to meet you again. And they'd love to do business with you also. System 2 thinking takes a little bit more time, takes a little bit more energy, but it's always about understanding what's going on in the larger picture. What's happening with the other person. And have you ever been in a situation where somebody says something to you and it just strikes you as wrong? Or maybe somebody in a conversation, you'll be with other people and somebody throws you under the bus and everybody laughs?
Yes, I've been there.
And you are the subject of their fun at that particular time. But what they said was really kind of hurtful to you.
Well, I feel like even this morning in an interaction that I had already this morning, someone said something, and my immediate response was wanting to be defensive. And it took me a moment to first be quiet. I had to first be quiet, and I had to remind myself, don't react, don't react, don't react. And then I was able to really form the right answer. And when I say right answer, I mean, I thought about what had been said, and I saw the validity in what had been said. And instead of reacting defensively, I was able to support and validate what that person had said, so that then I could say, and now I'll look for a solution. And but it took some work.
That's right. System 2 takes some work, but it's really worth it, because when you do system 2 thinking, you can figure out what the exact equation is and how to solve the problem, instead of being reactive and emotional. And that's what happens with system 1 thinking. When we have an instantaneous emotional reaction to a situation, system 1 is just right there doing their instantaneous thing, where they've got to keep yourself safe and protect yourself and put your defenses up, and all that stuff kicks in, and there's no way that you can win. There's no way that you can solve a problem. There's no way that you can move forward in a relationship that way.
Well, and it stops all creativity.
It stops all creativity.
And so when we can go to system 2 thinking, what I'm finding more and more is that I'm able to create options and see the possible or potential solutions better than if I stay in system 1 thinking.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having a wonderful conversation with me.
So Joanna wants to know, why is it called System 1 and System 2?
Oh, it's experiential psychologists have developed this. Kahneman, the Nobel Prize winning psychologist, writes about this. Just the best thing for you to do is to search System 1 and System 2. And when you do, you'll see a little history about it. And I'm glad you asked that question. Good.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, well, that's it for today. You've been listening to Bryan and Jennifer Martin, and I'm not Jennifer.
He's Bryan. I'm Jennifer.
And this is Real Estate Love, and our supreme goal and desire is to help strengthen your home and help you build your business, because we really care about people and we really care about real estate agents. Right?
We do.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, God bless you. You all have a great day now, okay?